But their real failure, in my view, was to not pivot to the political center in a way that most people found credible. So to return to my hobby horse, I think there are some lessons that the Democrats really must absorb from what is undeniably a total political defeat. They simply have to recognize that several planks of their platform are thoroughly rotten. Identity politics is over. No one wants it. Latinos and blacks don't even want it, as witnessed by the fact that they moved to Trump in record numbers. Trump got a majority of Latino men nationwide, and in some counties he got a majority of Latino men and women, even after everything he has said about immigrants from Latin America over the years. How they're, quote, poisoning the blood of our people, which is right out of Mein Kampf. A comedian calls Puerto Rico a pile of garbage at a Trump rally, and the entire Democratic machine and all of liberal media seize upon it like a nuclear bomb has just vaporized an American city, and no one cared. Identity politics is dead.
I think, okay. I feel like Sam Harris is falling for this thing, the setting the media agenda, that even on platforms where there are no right-wing voices, it feels like conservatives, or it feels like the conversations that we have publicly are almost entirely controlled by right-wing talking points. That like this, the whole trans stuff and the DEI, like how many times did Kamala Harris bring up her support for trans people and DEI and CRT? Like the only people that talk about this are Republicans. Those are the only people that talk about this. And then it's like, and so they win. And it's like, yeah, people don't like all this DEI, CRT, trans stuff. And then it's like, yeah, the Democrats definitely need to stop talking about it. It's like, no, they don't. We don't. What do you mean? It was the Republicans. They talk about this all the time. No one talks about this on the left.
And we have to bury it. Okay, there's one species of identity politics that had an enormous effect on this election, and most Democrats don't seem to realize it. Around 0.5% of American adults identify as transgender or non-binary. That's 1 in 200 people.
Oh boy.
And yet the activism around this identity has deranged our politics for as long as Trump has been in politics. One lesson I would be quick to draw from this election is that Americans aren't really into seeing biological men punch women in the face at the Olympics. And if that sounds like transphobia to you...
Yeah, but first of all, it's the Olympics. It's an international thing. Like, this is not a Democrat thing. Like, how many center-left Democrats are supporting this? Like, it's crazy lefties on Twitter, and then it's Republicans amplifying it. Like, who are the center-left politicians that are talking about this trans stuff all the time? You were wrong about the trans Olympic stuff at the time. One, I 100% was not. And two, I still don't know if anything has come out even showing that she is trans or intersex. I don't know if anything has been released on that at all. I'm not aware of it if it is, but I was not wrong about anything that I said at the time about that. I think the point he wants to make is that Democrats failed at basically saying what you said some time ago, that trans women and women in sports is not good. Yeah, but like you can do it, but you can't live in the conservative criticism all the time. Okay? You can't do this because then what, like it's like when I'm on Piers. You have to have an environment like that, and you have to do it like Destiny, okay? So Piers asks me, hey, Destiny, do you disavow what you said about the firefighter? Then I ask Ruben, how do you feel about January 6th? Well, there was a lot of Antifa there. There was a lot of, no, then you. No, I don't. That, and I won't. Never in front of these motherfuckers, ever, right? It's bullshit that a Republican can do anything and then run this whole right-wing media circuit and say, and never get held accountable for a single thing. And then when they're being accused of stuff, just launch attacks on the left. And then when the left candidate goes on their left-wing media circuit, now it's like, how do you feel about Biden? You said bullseye. Don't you think that's bad? Like, Kamala, didn't you have an issue with this? And don't you guys have issue? And Walls, what about that thing you said about China? Like, it's so uneven and it's so stupid. And it's like, well, no, the Democrats need to do better at what? At constantly self-flagellating while, flagellating always sounds like the fart word. Wait, self-flag, yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah. No, this is stupid. Go on the attack more. This is dumb. It shouldn't be like, we just want you guys to know that, we don't think that trans women should be in blah, blah. It shouldn't be that. It should be, Kamala should come out on stage and she should say, we need to call for more transparency in our political candidates. I want to see the Pornhub search histories of every Republican candidate because these motherfuckers must be beating it off, okay? Constantly beating their meat to girl dick for them to be this fucking obsessed about trans issues, okay? It is unfathomable. I think that Republicans are banning porn in some of these states because they can't help themselves, okay? But jerk their dicks off to girl cock constantly with how much these motherfuckers talk about it. I'm not talking about this shit. Democrats aren't talking about this shit. Why the fuck are you talking about it so much? Do something about the fucking border or talk about the economy. That's what people care about more, right? Supposedly.
I've spoken to many Democrats in recent years and over the course of this election, and a shocking percentage of them imagine that all the controversy about trans rights and gender identity in kids is just right-wing bigotry and a non-issue politically, whereas it is obvious that for millions of Americans, it might as well have been the only issue in this election. Not because they are transphobic assholes,
I don't think Americans were voting on trans issues. If you say you are, what you're really voting on is this vision of America that Republicans have sold you, and it's a whole delusional. It's a cloth that's been pulled over your eyes to obscure reality from you, and this is like what you think. It's not like an actual, honest engagement with what's going on. I don't believe that at all.
But because they simply do not accept the new metaphysics and even new biology mandated by trans activists and the institutions that they have successfully bullied and captured. And it's important to say that not all trans people agree with what these activists say and do. Having the thought police suddenly proscribe the use of the term woman and demanding that we speak instead of birthing person or menstruators or people with ovaries or some other Orwellian construction designed to test everyone's patience and sanity, the sight of people being deplatformed on social media or fired from universities for merely stating that there are two biological sexes.
Like, some of this stuff is crazy and wacky, for sure. But it's like, these are things happening at like academic institutions. Why is it? Like, can you please riddle me this? How is it that things happening in schools, the Republicans are able to project that over the entirety of the Democratic Party, but the Republicans are able to escape everything that they're involved in? How does that make sense? Can you imagine, I've said this a million times, I'll say it again. Can you imagine, geez, is Destiny just refusing to listen to why your side lost? You understand that you guys don't even accept the results of the 2020 election, right? Like, you can never, ever, ever use that argument. You have absolutely zero ground to stand on for that argument, ever, right? I pray that you remember to keep swallowing and don't actually like inhale and suffocate on Trump's fucking load, okay? As you're gulping down the buckets of fucking cum from this guy.
Formed on social media or fired from universities.
Yeah, if the left had any equivalent of Andrew Tate, like, it would be over. Like, there's so much shit that the right can just get away with that the left is like Andrew Tate is like actually Epstein, or like the worst version of what people thought Epstein was. Like, he talks to fucking minors, tries to draft them into some weird fucking cam business, like works them in a fucking basement while scamming them for their taxes as a fucking pimp prostitute guy who's got videos of him like smacking women, but that's just a fucking fetish kink, right? Somehow Epstein, who's not even like a Democratic operative, that nobody on the left supports, by the way, somehow Epstein gets tied strongly to Democrats, even though Trump and Elon are both in pictures with the guy all the fucking time, right? And then the right wing is like, Tate, actually, he's innocent of everything. We're not going to talk about that. And it's like, what? Fucking Tate even has a video on how to fucking sex traffic. Tate is a fucking god. Here's a video series. Tate is a video series on how to sex traffic women. What the fuck?
Universities for merely stating that there are two biological sexes. I actually know a professor who lost her job at Harvard over this.
I really want to know who this professor is, who he's talking about. I want to look into the case. I'm curious what she actually lost her job for. And I fully admit it could have been a bad thing, because I have seen some departments that have conducted themselves in cringe and bad ways when it comes to issues of race and when it comes to trans issues. 100%. I am curious which one he's bringing up, though. And we've read some of them on stream.
Witnessing an epidemic of gender confusion spread through our schools, when people with their own eyes could see that this was a social contagion, being encouraged by the schools themselves, the ultimate fruition of which in many cases.
Ivy League schools are mega schizo unironically. Yes, but like, even at the school, this is what kids at Yale told me, because I went up to Yale to do a thing, right? Didn't I? Because I was talking to some of the student body there, and even those guys were telling me, like, the politically active students at Yale are insanely crazy. They are, but they're like 1% of the student body. Most students are not involved in this stuff. Even at like your activist colleges, it's like a very, very, very small percentage of the students are like super activists, and everyone else just like goes to class and they walk by the cringe kids and they don't give a fuck. Even kids at Yale were telling me that. So like, I don't know, maybe in some places, maybe it's not like that, or maybe it is a bigger problem in some other places, but it's not like 90% of the student body is like crazy. Destiny, most people should push back then. Why? They're just kids that want to go to class. Why the fuck would you want to try to fight the activist student body? It could destroy your life.